Joyboy's last gift. Hello One Piece enthusiasts, I'm the One Piece nerd, and today let's talk about One Piece chapter 1122. It is one of the smack bangs chapter of the year, and 10 out of 10, and this could probably be the last chapter of Egghead Island, in which case, this is one of the best endings I could have ever wished for. Before we move on, make sure to like and subscribe, it helps us out a lot. Now that you have, let's begin. First, let's start out with Joyboy and HAKI. This is, in fact, in my opinion, the strongest HAKI we have ever seen in the entirety of One Piece. And no, I don't say it because it's Joyboy. I say it because of the effect it had on the level of opponents we were facing. Other than that, of course, it is Joyboy. His HAKI is supposed to be strong, and it affected Emth on Pangaea Castle, which is crazy. Other than that, Joyboy and Emth having a close relationship, this feels like one of the last gifts Joyboy left to the world as a gift or as a sign to the future generation about their existence, and he gifted this last thing, this last bit of significance with a marvelous gift. And Emth did his job perfectly well. Of course, Emth is now probably back in his slumber. The reason being, not because he's damaged, but because Luffy is going away. I believe he awoke the first time because of Luffy's presence and because of Luffy's Gear 5. And that reminded him of Joyboy. Another thing that brings up, which is 200 years ago, when he attacked Marijoa, I believe that there was someone who was near to awakening the Nika Nika fruit but was not successful. Or maybe it could just been a function that was set on Emth 1000 years back, which told him to awake at this specific time and attack this specific place. Which is very weird, but we have yet to know. These things for sure, it wasn't from the world government, it was from somewhere else. And of course 200 years ago we don't really know who existed, so we can't really speculate on to who could have awakened the fruit or who could have possessed it, but it's a possibility. Now, when we saw Joyboy, of course, he at first glance didn't look like a giant, nor did he look like a human. I first thought he was a human, but then when you're comparing proportions and sizes, he had the same height as around Whitebeard, which could suggest that he was a Buccaneer, and that would make sense as to why Buccaneers were the ones that were hunted the most, and Lunarians being, of course, them being special, and they were part of the, they were the ones who ruled over the Grand Line, and of course, the Red Line, of course, and then, of course, the Giants. Three races, Lunarians, the Buccaneers, and Giants, but Giants are Giants. They've been existed since the Ancient Kingdom, and they're a race hard to beat. Other than that, the two races that has been extinguished, of course, that including the Third Eye Tribe. All of the Third Eye Tribe, because of them having the powers to read the poneglyphs, of course the world government would not want that. But Buccaneers, we have not really found exact reasons as to why Buccaneers were so feared amongst the world nobles, but it is my belief that Joyboy was in fact a Buccaneer. It would make the most amount of sense comparing his size, but of course he also had the Nika Nika fruit, which would suggest that he could maybe control his height, but I think we found him to be in his normal form, if you ask me. But speculations aside, another thing that has to be mentioned is the giant straw hat in Marijoa. This also comes down to proportion. If Im-sama isn't that tall, the size of the straw hat is enough to fit Emth. It's entirely possible that Joyboy, when we saw Joyboy, he had the same cape, or somewhere near the same cape that Luffy wore to Onigashima, the same straw hat, of course, as Luffy, that is for sure, and the giant straw hat could have been Emeth's. We remember this parallel to what Ace did for Oars Jr. in Marineford, and it's entirely possible that Joyboy made a hat for Emth, and Emth was a very close friend of Joyboy's. So I believe that this hat could have belonged to Joyboy that Im-sama gathered 200 years ago. As for the HAKI, and one of the most speculative things is that did the HAKI beat the Gorosei, or was it just the summoning circle? My opinion is, since Saturn stayed there, and Saturn, by the way, is not done for, he is in fact still there, still alive, and the four Gorosei, of course, amongst which Jupiter or Mars. I think Mars was the one who went back first after getting punched by Luffy and Bonnie, and this probably either shows that it's either a range thing that the summoning circle, if they get out of the range of the summoning circle, they get sent back to Pangaea Castle, or there's a certain amount of threshold of injury that they can take, after which point they have to go back. And it is my belief that when we saw the rest of the three elders get hit, of course all of them lost their forms and they had to go back, and it's not because they were beyond the summoning circle, it's because they were directly attacked, and HAKI has affected the summoning circle as well, which made them go back, and it also affected Emth. And Emth probably reacted because she or he heard the name of Joyboy. Other than that, this is my belief that the summoning circle wasn't the reason why they left. It was because of the HAKI, and it was because they have some sort of a threshold where they had to go back, or Emth-sama could not control them. Of course, the Straw Hats were not capable or strong enough for them to be able to beat the Gorosei, so this was one of the best ways out, and I believe it's fairly justified. Other than that, any other methods to resolve the situation would have been kind of unfair to the Gorosei. So the next time the Straw Hats meet the Gorosei, it's going to be a wild ride. Another thing that I have to bring up, I thought Saturn had died the last chapter, and Katarina Devon did the perfect thing by taking Saturn's abilities, and they could try to replace Saturn, but Saturn is still there. We don't know what Saturn might be up to or might be doing. He is still alive and well. He is going to go back to Pangaea Castle alongside the rest of the Marines, but I don't know how Blackbeard's plan fits into all of this. It's entirely possible that Blackbeard and the others ambush Saturn and kill him, of course, and then do something about the whole situation with the Gorosei. This is my opinion. Other than that, I'm not really sure how they're going to go about it. Speaking of Blackbeard, and the last thing I want to end on, I made a video 6 months back talking about how Caribou was Luffy's biggest mistake. And in my opinion, I still stand to that. Caribou is the person that will make Blackbeard the king of the pirates. And of course, I am the believer that Blackbeard will be the one who becomes king first. And Caribou would take it a long way. He knows the knowledge of 2 ancient weapons in 2 different places, and I'm sure Blackbeard has the means to gather everything and anything. And it's going to be a wild ride if Blackbeard does go for Fishman Island or Wano, and it's about to get crazy. But this is one of the things as to why Blackbeard just might have an upper hand versus Luffy. So let me know what you guys think. Caribou's information, how much will it affect Blackbeard's success? How much will it hurt Luffy? And do you think the Egghead Island arc is over? And what do you think about Joyboy? And Joyboy's HAKI, of course. That's it for the video, guys. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and peace.